Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. Today we're going to be working on tremolo. I'll give you an example here of what that sounds like, and then I'll jump into explaining how it's done. So it sounds like this. So that's what it sounds like. You'll hear it in classical music, Italian music, bluegrass, a number of places. It's a fun skill to have in your bag of tricks. So the number one thing to remember with tremolo is you got to keep your right hand really relaxed. If your right hand is tense, your tremolo is gonna sound choppy. It's not gonna really come out of the instrument right. So your right hand's got to be really relaxed, and a thing that happens is the faster we try to play, the more tense our hands are gonna get naturally. It's a unfortunate case, but it's kind of how it is. So we need to the trick is to start really slowly, and don't start by seeing how fast you can play tremolo. Because it's just going to make you tense up. So you want to start really slowly. I use a metronome. Got a metronome here. There's also, if you Google online metronome, I'm sure you can find something. And I use my metronome. I've got it set here to 60 beats per minute. So it's not going particularly fast. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play 4 beats every time the metronome clicks off. So there's the beat, and I'm going to put 4 notes in there, so it's going to sound like this. I'm going to play on the open E string, and you're just going to do that for a pretty long time. Just make sure you're really lined up with the beats. It's totally natural to kind of drift off the beat, but just kind of get yourself back on time. Don't worry about it, and the more you do it, the easier it will be to stay on time with the metronome. And just get that as smooth as possible. Make sure your wrist's nice and loose, your elbow's nice and loose, your hand's nice and loose. It's alright if you drop the pick. It's better than gripping on so tight that it affects the music. Another trick is to have the pick not go straight through the strings parallel, but if you have it at an angle, it glides over the strings a little easier. So my pick's actually, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but it's kind of going through the strings like that rather than straight through. It'll catch up if you try to go straight through the strings, but if you tip it, kind of glides over the strings a little easier. So get that going right at 60 beats per minute, and just get it until it's a really nice, natural thing to do. And then you're going to start speeding it up. So I'll do that here. So once that feels totally natural, bump it up maybe a little bit. Again, get that nice and natural, no tension in your hands. Keep bumping it up, and you don't have to go this quickly. I'm just doing it for the sake of time. Got it up a little over 80 now, 84. Nice and natural. Keep it going. I'm up at 100. You don't need to move this fast again. And once you get into these higher speeds, you want to make the changes even slower, just to make sure your wrist is nice and loose. It's going to be tense at first, but once you get comfortable with the beat, you're just going to focus on getting a nice even tempo. And once you get to a high enough speed, it starts to sound like tremolo. Move it way up. And once you're around 120 or 130 or so, it may not all come at once. It may take a little bit of practice to sort of get up to that speed and keep your wrist nice and loose and your elbow nice and loose, and get a nice clean sound that stays on the beat. But it'll start, once you get up fast enough, it'll start sort of stop sounding like individual notes where you want to count it. And once you get to a particular speed, it's no longer, it just kind of blends into itself. You can do this with double stops as well, like, or full chords. There's a lot of options. Because we're practicing and trying to get 4 beats per 4 notes per beat on the metronome, doesn't mean that that's always the way to do it. Some great musicians have very sort of metered tremolo, and you can really, it's nice and smooth that way. But other musicians like David Grisman's got a great tremolo that's a little more loose. It's a little more kind of organic sound. You're not sort of hearing the, wow, he's hitting 4 notes per beat, but he's got a great sound. And as long as you sort of have your right hand moving fast enough, they all blend together and it'll sound real good. So practice with that. Again, always stay slow enough that you're not tensing anything up. That's the last thing you want to be doing. And just slowly build up the speed until you've got a nice even sound. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.